guys, Chef Cheryl here. Welcome to this week's episode of Gettin Saucy. So this week I'd like to focus on Father's Day. We all have a great dad out there, a husband, a son, and we want to celebrate them on their big day. So I thought, why not do a little surf and turf and show our viewers at home how you could prepare an amazing meal for your loved ones. So what I have here is a ribeye steak. You could choose sirloin, tenderloin, whatever you like, but we particularly like ribeye here. So what I'm going to do is season with a little sea salt and fresh cracked pepper. Make sure you're generous with your salt and pepper because your steak uses it as its only seasoning, okay? Nice little bit of salt and pepper. Now in my pan here, I have a 12-inch cast iron, stainless, sorry, not cast iron. You can also use cast iron if you're cooking a steak because cast iron can go directly into the oven. But today we're going to use stainless here in our Jenn kitchen. So I have about 3 tablespoons of butter melted in my pan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this beautiful ribeye and I am going to very slowly lower it into my pan, okay? Will you hear that sizzle? Now, that's going to go for about 4 to 5 minutes, okay? So while that's going, what I'm going to do is start a sauce. So I am going to do our surf and turf with a little steak, couple of sea scallops, and a nice scampi sauce to go over the whole plate, okay? So I'm going to get that sauce started. I'm going to use the second set of burners on my lovely Jenn cooktop. As I said in my videos before, I love this space, and this is the exact reason why. So to start our sauce, I'm just going to turn on our burner to about medium low, okay? And then I'm going to add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter, okay? Now butter is so delicious in this scampi sauce. It goes so lovely with our seafood. So I love to do a nice scampi. You'll see a shrimp scampi, and I think this will be perfect for our steak, okay? I can hear our steak going nicely. Now here I have a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, so I'm going to add that right to my butter, okay? I would say about 2 or 3 tablespoons if you're going to measure it out. And we'll let that start to melt down. And what I have in front of me is chopped garlic, about 4 fresh scallions or green onions, however you may call them, a tablespoon of chopped fresh basil, and about 3 tablespoons of chopped fresh Italian parsley, okay? This is what we're going to use to make our sauce. So I'm going to take a little bit of my lemon zest. So the proper way to zest a lemon is to put your zester on an angle and make sure you only do a few passes across before you slide over to the next side. The white part of your rind is very bitter, and that's not what you want in your sauce. You just want that fresh lemon zest. It will wake up your scampi sauce and make it so delicious, so don't skip it. It's very well worth it. I'm going to use a little bit of fresh lemon juice as well. So it's not like you're buying a whole lemon just for zest, okay? So let me take a peek here. Yep, our sauce is starting to get melted down. So I'm going to add my scallion first, okay? We'll let that cook down a little bit. Ooh, my steak is smelling amazing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check on it. Take a peek, see how it's turned out. It looks lovely. It's only been about 2 minutes though, so I'm going to let it go a little longer. What I have here is our scallops that we're going to use today. So I just bought a few from my local store. You can buy 20 in a pound, you can buy 6 in a pound, depends on how big and how large you want them. We don't want to spoil that too much, right? So we have about 16 in a pound here, so that'll tell you about the size that they are. So now that my scallion and butter is cooking down in my scampi sauce, I am going to add my garlic. Now garlic does not take long on heat, okay? If you let garlic heat up for too long, it will turn brown and it will give your whole meal like a burnt flavor. We don't want that. Fresh herbs go in right after our garlic. And I think we're going to need a little more butter. So I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons more butter into our sauce, okay? It's a great thing about making a sauce. I love to be in the kitchen and feel like I can add, I can customize to what my tastes are, what I like, and there's no wrong way to cook. You cook from your heart, and that's what's the most important. So here at Gerhard's, we have a lot of lovely gentlemen that work for us. So I went through and I asked each of them what was their favorite food that their wife or that cooked for them on a birthday, or they eat at a restaurant, or that they cook for themselves. And overwhelmingly, I heard again and again, steak, steak, steak. No surprise there, right? So go ahead and spoil your dad or your brother or your son, whoever, this season on Father's Day with our little surf and turf from Gettin Saucey. All right, so we're getting a beautiful color on this steak, okay? So I'm going to turn down the temperature just a little bit to about medium, and I'm going to let that side cook. Then I'm going to start to brown my edges. When I pick up the piece of meat and I start to brown the edges to sear in all that juicy flavor, that's when I'm going to add my sea scallops to the pan, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them out and season them while we're getting our crust built on our ribeye. All right. So we're going to give them a little salt and pepper. Feel free to be generous with your seasoning because, again, this is the only seasoning that this is going to get. That's why we're making our beautiful little scampi sauce to go with it. We're going to flip those over and do the same thing on this side. A little salt, a little pepper. Beautiful. Okay. So my pan handle is starting to get a little hot. So what I'm going to do is just grab my rag because I don't want to get hurt and I don't want you to get hurt either. So be careful if you're using a stainless pan at home. Okay, I'm going to take a peek. All right, we got some color on that side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold my ribeye straight up, okay? And that's going to allow it to burn all around the edges and sear in all that juicy flavor that you want, okay? So I'm just going to hold that up. And you will, you will hear the grease start to cook off the sides of it. And that's exactly what we want, okay? We want to hear it all. So now that I'm going to add my scallions, I'm just going to make a little room in my pan. I'm going to add a fresh pat of butter, and then I'm going to drop those scallions in for about 2 minutes per side maximum, okay? Let that butter come up. Then I'm going to add my little scallions right to the pan so they can both come off at the same time. That's what we want here, okay? We want our steak and our scallions to be ready all at once. So I'm going to check on my sauce. Smells amazing. It's bubbling up lovely. I'm going to add a little more olive oil to it. And then I'm going to squeeze in some fresh lemon juice, okay? So now there's no need for you to have a particular squeezer or any kind of kitchen tool to help you with the lemon. So I'm going to teach you. You're just going to go straight in half. You're going to buy, when you go into the supermarket to buy your lemon, you're going to buy a lemon that feels nice and soft to your grip. That's how you know it's nice and juicy. Now I'm just going to use my hand to straighten out the seeds because I'm just going to squeeze this half a lemon right into my sauce and make sure I catch all the seeds with my hand, okay? So nice and simple, just like so. See, and all that lemon juice is just going to drip right through my hands. This is going to be about 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons of lemon juice that we're adding to the scampi sauce, okay? And then I'm just going to turn down my heat a little bit because we do not want our lemon to get too overcooked. Oh, this is perfect. Now let me check on my scallions. My scallops. Oh, they're getting a nice color. Okay, we need about 1 more minute on those scallops, and we'll be good to go. Now, if you would like to serve your husband or father's favorite beer with his surf and turf, fantastic. If you're looking for a little something more elevated, you can try a beautiful red wine. It would be fantastic. A little green salad to go with this, and a delectable dessert, and you'll have a meal that he will appreciate for a lifetime. But know how to cook it correctly, because he's going to ask for it again. That's for sure. So I hear my scallops sizzling. All right, I'm going to turn them over. They have a nice color on one side. ribeye one final time. I have such a nice caramelization on the bottom of my ribeye from that butter getting up to a proper temperature before we drop the meat in. It's beautiful, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. So scallops and all seafood are very easy to overcook. So you're going to want to really pay attention to your pan temperature and how long you leave your seafood in the pan. Okay, it's very important. You want a nice sear on each side of your scallops, but you do not want them to be rubbery. Because everyone knows a rubbery piece of seafood is the worst. Am I right? Okay, so I'm just leaning my pan backwards to get some of that butter to pour down at the bottom so I can get more of just a hot pan against my scallop because I want a really good sear, and I only have a small amount of time to do it. Like we said, seafood can be overcooked so quickly. Okay, so my sauce is done. I'm going to pull that off to the heat, okay? We do not want to overcook our garlic. Oh, beautiful. They're turning out wonderfully. Now, I really appreciate cooking on the Jen Air kitchen today because this is a gas range, and I feel like electric ranges are a little more difficult to control the heating. So I like to cook my seafood on a gas range so that I can go up and down and adjust as necessary. So if it takes an electric range, I believe, a little bit longer to cool or to heat up. So I like to have more control, and I think you'll agree when you make your seafood at home. Okay, these scallops are definitely ready. So I'm going to go right on ahead and plate those. Put it up a little bit closer so you guys can see our beautiful little scallops going into the plate. Here they are. And then we're going to add that big, gorgeous ribeye. And then we're going to cover it all in this beautiful scampi sauce that we worked on, okay? Great. Just want to get this big guy right onto the plate. Looks beautiful. I'm going to cover it with just a few tablespoons of that scampi sauce, okay? So we're going to give it a nice stir. Pick up all those flavors, and then we're just going to lightly pour a little of that sauce right on top. Use your spoon to spread it out a bit. You want some of that gorgeousness all over both your scampi and your steak, okay? And this is how you impress your father this Father's Day. Join us again, and I will make maple bacon cupcakes for everyone in your house to enjoy. See you next time. Hi guys, welcome back to Gettin Saucey. So what's on the menu for us today is our maple bacon cupcakes. So I'd like to show you guys a few little tricks to take a simple box of vanilla cake mix and turn it into something amazing. So the first thing I did before you guys joined me is I cooked off 1 pound of bacon. I simply candied it by laying it into a hot frying pan, covering it with a layer of brown sugar, flipping it over, and doing the same thing on the other side. Put them on a paper towel lined plate, let them dry, and now they're all ready for our cupcakes. So what we're going to do after we put the batter together is melt a little chocolate, drizzle it over that bacon, and we'll have a beautiful topper for our cupcakes. So the first thing we're going to start with is our simple box cake mix. So you're simply just going to open it up and add it to your mixer. I love a stand mixer for this reason. I can empty all my ingredients right in and not have to worry about fussing with a bunch of stuff. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to add is 1 cup of whole milk, okay? Then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract mixed with 2 teaspoons of maple extract. Now, McCormick makes maple extract, so you can buy it at any regular grocery store. No need to go anywhere particular. We're going to add 3 whole eggs straight into our mix. And we are also going to add for our fat, we have the bacon grease that came off of. It's about a 1/4 cup or so. So I'm going to add just a little more vegetable oil to that to bring it up to what we need. What we need is 1/2 cup, okay? So we're just adding a little bit. Perfect. So now what this is going to do is it's going to make our batter both have our maple flavor and our bacon flavor at the same time without adding bits of bacon. Bacon won't stay crispy, obviously, in a batter, so we don't want that. We don't want soggy bacon, yuck. So we're just gonna add that fat right to the pan, and then we're gonna turn on our mixer and let it go for about 1 or 2 minutes. While that's happening, I am gonna show you guys how to do the chocolate for the bacon, okay? So I'm going to take, in my Jenn kitchen, I have a built-in microwave right underneath me, so I don't even have to leave my cooking space. Just gonna open up my warming drawer / microwave, stick it in, and I'm gonna let that chocolate melt down for 1 minute at a time, okay? Why am I not adding it for longer than 1 minute? Okay, let me explain that to you. So the reason we're adding our chocolate for 1 minute is chocolate is so easy to scorch, and we don't want that to happen. We want our chocolate to be nice and thin so that we can squeeze it over top of our bacon, okay? So just 1 minute at a time. So I'm gonna take a peek in my bowl. All right, so I'm gonna scrape my bowl down with a rubber spatula so that we get everything incorporated. Just gonna give it a little mix, and then I'm gonna turn my mixer up to like level 2 so we can get some air into our batter because we want our cupcakes to rise. Okay. There we go. And now I'm gonna check on my chocolate, see if it's melted yet. Okay, my chocolate is starting to melt, but it's not at that melty point, okay? So we're gonna give it 1 more minute. Then we'll be all set to go. Okay. Our batter looks amazing. It's coming up fantastically. And you want your batter to have just a little bit of air bubbles in it because you want it to have that rise in the oven, okay? So we have our beautiful Jenn oven preheating at 350 degrees, and I already have my pan lined with cake liners. If you don't like to use cupcake liners, you don't have to use cupcake liners. All you're gonna do is simply spray your pan with Pam or any kind of cooking spray, and they'll rise on their own. Now I like to use paper because I feel like it gives our cake something to climb up and build nice tall cupcakes, and that's what I like. All right, so let me check on our chocolate. We've got about 20 seconds left, so I'm just gonna open it up and take a peek. Ooh, it's perfect, okay? But it's nice and warm now, so I'm gonna grab a rag so I don't burn myself. Fill up that chocolate. It looks amazing, so good and perfect. Okay, and that's exactly what we need. So I'm gonna show you guys a little trick on how to do that chocolate. You don't need a piping bag or any special ingredients. All you're going to need is a simple sandwich bag, which I'm gonna grab for you right now. So any size Ziploc bag that you have will work. So you're just gonna take one out of your package, and you can either put it into a cup that can help you fill your bag, or if you have a large enough bag, you can just pour right in. Okay, so I'm just gonna take my bowl and pour all my chocolate straight in, like so. Perfect. Now I'm going to take all that chocolate and push it to the bottom of my bag. Just hold it closed, give it a little push with your hand, okay? We're going to push all that chocolate over into one corner. See, now I have a homemade piping bag. So I'm going to simply just twist that like that, twist it in my hand so that the chocolate doesn't come pouring out the other end. That's not what you want, right? Then we're going to take our beautiful bacon and snip a little hole in our bag, and then we will be able to do a little design across our bacon with this beautiful melted chocolate. So let's slide that right in here. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. You're going to make a small incision in your bag, not a large one, okay? Just give it a little snip right off the tip of that, okay? And then you're going to be able to, as you see, squeeze ever so slightly, and that chocolate's just going to pour right out of the bag, just like you want it to. So we're going to give it all this chocolate. You can go back and forth and do a little design if you want, but we're going to give our bacon a rough chop after this because our chocolate-covered bacon is going to be the topper to our Maple Bacon Cupcakes. All right, I think that's beautiful and perfect. So we're going to go ahead and get our cupcakes into the pan. So now to get nice, even cupcakes, what I like to do is I like to use an ice cream scoop, or maybe you have a certain spoon in your house that's about, I don't know, 3 or 4 tablespoons, and you can work with it just like that. So what I'm gonna do is release my beaters, get those out of the way, and then we can work right from our pan. I have a really large cupcake tray here. This is a 24 set that you can buy at any restaurant store, or you can use 2 of your regular cupcake pans. That'll work just as well. So here I have a little ladle. Like I said, I want to use the same measurement for each cupcake so we get pretty even ones, okay? So I'm just going to take some of that batter and pour it in each individual one. Now, these maple bacon cupcakes are a huge hit in my house. My husband and my son love these. And when my brother finds out that I have made them, he comes running to my house as well. So maybe you make these for the next time your husband does something special, or your son's graduation, or Father's Day. Whatever works for you, give the guy in your life a nice little treat. Something sweet and savory at the same time. So now I can smell our maple extract right in that batter. It smells fantastic, almost like I'm cooking pancakes. So I'm gonna add our batter, and we're gonna let these cook at 350 degrees for about 18 to 20 minutes, depending, okay? How you're gonna find out if your cupcake is cooked all the way through is you're just gonna take a simple toothpick, stick it in the center, and if it comes out clean, your cupcakes are all ready. I'm gonna finish filling these and pop them into our beautiful Jenn-Air oven, and I will join you guys right back here so we can make our maple buttercream frosting. Hey guys, welcome back to Gettin Saucey. So now our cupcakes have come out of the oven and they've cooled completely, because if you try to add icing to a warm cupcake, it will melt. Some of you may know that from experience. So I'm gonna teach you how to make a simple maple buttercream frosting that is gonna go so well with our maple bacon cupcakes. So first I'm gonna start with 3 room temperature sticks of butter. So they're just gonna be a little bit soft to the touch, but not melty, okay? So we're gonna add those right to our mixer. I'm gonna give it just a small crank of salt because I'm using unsalted butter. I'm gonna let this mix up. There we go. So as I'm letting my butter mix, I'm going to start measuring out my teaspoons of seasoning that I'm going to use. So today I'm going to use maple extract instead of our regular vanilla extract because we are making maple bacon cupcakes. So let's add just a little bit. There we go. All right, I'm going to scrape down my pan for a second time. And I'm going to add just a little bit of our maple extract. So I'm going to use about 2 pounds of our powdered sugar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use about a full tablespoon of seasoning. So I have my maple extract. I'm going to add that straight in. So 3 teaspoons is what I'm measuring out, which equals a tablespoon. This is a half of a teaspoon measure. That's why you see me putting so many in. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to let that go again and incorporate our extract into our butter. Okay, great. I'm going to scrape that down one more time, get everything all nice and mixed together well. I'm going to turn it all the way up, so give me 1 minute. Good already. Now I'm going to add our powdered sugar. I'm going to add about half. Okay. I'm going to let that start to mix in, and I'm going to grab a little bit of milk. Let that go, and I'm going to grab the milk. So nice and slowly, I'm going to start adding my liquid. into the pan to create our frosting. It's all coming together nicely. Beautiful. If you need to stop your mixer and scrape down your bowl, feel free to go ahead and do that. It's no problem whatsoever. Remember, we're adding only a little bit of liquid at a time because we can always add more liquid, but we can take it away. And with something like powdered sugar, adding more is going to change the flavor of your frosting. We don't want that. All right, perfect. So I'm going to scrape down my bowl. Add a little more liquid, get this all nice and consistent, and then I'll add my second half of my powdered sugar to this frosting. This is nice and thick and beautiful. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add almost the rest of that 2-pound bag of powdered sugar. Grab a little more milk. And I'm going to start this process over one more time. Turn on that mixer, add a little bit of my liquid, maybe about a tablespoon at a time, and let that mix up together. Now sometimes people use shortening in their buttercream recipes. That's fantastic. If you'd like to use Crisco in yours, you would separate half of the butter for the Crisco. This is really helpful when you want to do things like make roses or get deeper into your decorating than just the regular swirl on top of your cupcake. I like to use all butter for the flavor, but again, it's your kitchen and your choice. Do whatever you like to do. I'm going to turn this all the way up so we can get nice and frosty, creamy. I wish you guys could smell how amazing it smells. It smells like I am making French toast in here. Okay, so our frosting is coming to a great consistency. Now what I have here in front of me is my piping bag. You can use a Ziploc bag, just like I taught you to do with the chocolate. If you have a piping bag at home, that's great. These are only about $2 at your local cake decorating store. The tip I'm using is called a 1M tip. It's from a company called Wilton, and it has a little star. It's gonna help make our cupcakes very beautiful. It's also about $1, so it's a good investment. $3, and then you have beautiful cupcakes. To me, it's worth it. So let me bring over some of our maple bacon cupcakes that we made earlier. Remember, we took vanilla cake mix and we added a little bit of our bacon grease and maple extract to those, and we turned them into something totally different. So I'm just gonna line up a plate with my cupcakes, and then I'm gonna fill my frosting bag. So how you fill your frosting bag is you're gonna wanna hold your frosting bag upright, and you are going to slowly turn down each side till you're about halfway, okay? Then you're gonna take your hand and go underneath the sleeve of that and just open up your piping bag so that you have a nice, not like that. Open it up so that you have a nice wide space to fit your spatula and your frosting in, okay? So I'm gonna take a big scoop of my frosting and put it right inside. Now you don't want to overfill your frosting bag, because even if you may need a lot of frosting and you're going to do a lot of cupcakes, it is more strenuous on your hand to try and pipe with a fuller bag. So you're going to want to keep it about halfway full, maybe 3/4 full. Okay, so what I'm going to do is the same thing I did with the chocolate. I'm going to lay it down flat. I'm going to press it a little bit to push all my frosting to the end. Then I'm going to grab it, I'm going to squeeze it and give it a turn, just like so, so none of my frosting comes out of the back of my bag, okay? So I'm just going to keep my decorating bag over top of my cupcake, and I'm going to squeeze ever so slightly with the rest of my fingers that I have wrapped around. I'm doing an okay shape around the top, and I'm going to use these 3 fingers to keep the pressure as I'm squeezing the frosting into the cupcake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the inside, and I'm just going to go around 360 degrees, just like so, on each of our cupcakes. Beautiful. And when we're finished frosting each one of our cupcakes, we are going to drizzle it with a little bit of real maple syrup and give it a piece of our chocolate covered candied bacon. Okay, so this is our last one. Give it one more swirl. Okay, perfect. Now what I'm going to to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my maple syrup, if I can get it open. And what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to lightly drizzle it over top of each one of the cupcakes, okay? I'm going to grab my rag so I can try and get this one open. Okay, so we finally got it open. It's real maple syrup, so sometimes it gets stuck on the top of your jar, and that's totally fine. So I'm just going to pour a little into my cap, and I'm going to use that to control how much maple syrup I'm letting go over my cupcakes. So I'm just going to rock my hand back and forth, nice and slow, and just drizzle some of that beautiful maple syrup right over the top of my cupcakes, just like so. Then I'm going to add a beautiful piece of our chocolate covered bacon right to the top. Make it look nice and beautiful. Just add one to each bib. Now the reason we added our bacon grease into the cupcake instead of adding whole chunks of bacon is because they would not stay crispy, and that's what we want. We want that crispy bacon against that smooth, soft maple frosting and our yummy and delicious cupcake that we have. It's a nice contrast of textures, of flavors, and I think you guys are going to love it just as much as I do. And voila, we're all finished with our beautiful maple bacon cupcakes. Join us next time on Gettin Saucey and create a new recipe with us together here at Gerhardt's Fun Side. And voila, here we have our maple bacon cupcakes. Join us again on Gettin Saucey for our newest episode that we hope that you try at home.